It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Liz.
Always in my head, it's like, don't say it like Dr. Nick.
And yet,
I'm just going to surprise you one day and just go, hi.
how are you guys doing?
Fine.
Fantabulous.
Pretty damn good.
I hope everybody out there is doing okay. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well, I don't have a lot. I've been watching Buffy.
Wait. Is this like 3 weeks in a row now? That's how she starts off? I
Right.
don't have much.
It's
I
become
got
like
into
part of
this-
her script or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I got into this Buffy thing, and I can honestly say, no, I did not see the fifth. I didn't see the fifth one. I think they lost me the first time around. Bug, shh.
Bug has an opinion or two.
Yeah, just trying to say what she did this week. We don't care about that squirrel. I didn't see that. I think where they originally lost me was with the Initiative. I don't think I could handle that because that was just like, oh my God, Riley, leave. But the ending of the fifth season going into the sixth season is just one big tear fest. I mean, I don't think they really gave us time to, well, I guess originally there was like a week there, but first you have Riley leaving, which was kind of sad because she didn't get to say her goodbye. And then it's like the next episode her mom dies, and it's just, then she dies. So it's just kind of like everything all at once. It's just like, oh my God, So, yeah, I guess I'm about halfway through season 6 now. And Warren and them are really getting on my nerves, so I hope she kills them quickly. Or neuters them or something, because I don't know. I guess up until this point, there's always been a monster as the villain that gives you a great evil. And they're giving us 3 goobers to be the great evils, so it's kind of...
No, don't say anything. Let her watch. Let her watch.
Well, no, I was just going to say what you said before is the great evil of season 6, life.
Pretty much, yeah. Because she's facing losing her sister to something other than a demon, which is child services, so... And
is it other than a demon, though, really? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Child service, demon, child service, not that different, really.
No, not really.
Anyway, just kidding.
But she can't stake them. I mean, she kind of did, but, But, yeah, it was sad to learn that she was in heaven and her friends pulled her out of that. And I guess when you sit down and think about it, she was a hero. She never killed a human. She gave her life protecting her friends and family. Why would they think anything differently than she finally is at peace? That's what kind of blew me when, the whole, let's get her back. And it's like, why? She died on her terms the way she wanted to. So it was kind of like, why would you?
And there's a new Slayer. Clearly, the thing was passed on.
Right.
And yes, the whole faith thing was screwed up, so that there's technically still 2 Slayers. But Buffy was the real Slayer, and there was a new one now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't think so far they've touched on the new Slayer.
Oh, have they not? Oops.
No.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Because I knew it was coming. Because, like you said, she drowned and boom, Faith came along, you know?
Well, and then Kendra before Faith, too.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So I knew that there would eventually be a Slayer to come along, but, and I do think it's kind of weird. Spike keeps mentioning, she came back wrong. So I don't know for sure, but I think she came back without a soul. The way that he's been able to hurt her and everything else, I think they got Buffy back, but they didn't get all of her back. So I don't know. So yeah, it's interesting. I've been, curious. Now the musical episode, I fast forward, just got the gist.
That was excessively popular for some reason. I don't do musicals either, so I didn't get it, but everybody loved that episode for some reason.
I mean, there's some talent there. A few of them can sing pretty well.
Yeah.
Sure. Not all.
Giles and Spike, I mean, they should have just had them sing the whole episode because, the others, you could tell they were trying. And I'm so glad instead of having Dawn sing, they had her dance because, oh, Lord. I guess she hasn't hit puberty yet, or I don't know. But yeah, that one I kind of fast forward. But in order for her to tell what she needed to tell them what they did. Willow's thinking that she was this great savior, and no, you robbed me of my happy ending. She needed to tell them that.
Right.
If
because
anything,
not surprisingly, she was pissed.
Yeah, I would be.
She felt really betrayed by that.
Yep. You couldn't do life without me, so you pulled me from heaven? What?
Right, because Willow was absolutely certain she was in hell. Well, I mean,
yeah.
And I think a lot of that comes from, basically she's jumping into a gate to hell when that's how she died.
Right.
So,
and I could see with Angel, but,
if anybody can survive in hell, it would be Buffy.
Right.
So, I don't know.
But I think Angel was put in a different place than Buffy was because he's a vampire. He's killed people. He's killed countless people. And before he was cursed with a soul, he was evil and sadistic. So it made sense for him to go to hell, Buffy, on the other hand, was the hero. She was always saving innocents. And so I don't know. I could kind of see where if I was part of the Scooby Gang, I would have been the one they didn't tell because I'd be like, wait. Zombie Buffy? I don't think we should do this, guys.
Seems like not a good idea, huh?
Right. So, yeah.
Is there maybe a way to find out where she is before we yank her back? I mean, come on.
Right. Because I think with Buffy being the badass that she is, had she have went to hell, she would have found a way to tell them that she needed their help, because when she sets her mind to something, she gets it done. But I don't know, send a demon to Earth or something. But she would have found a way to tell them if she wasn't happy, It's
a thought.
Yeah. And now I'm in the part where I guess Willow is drying out on magic. Tara's just left her. So we'll see where that goes. Although I will have to say, I remember the time that this came on, but to me, they don't have to keep telling us every 5 minutes that Willow's gay. I mean, we get it. She lives with her girlfriend, okay?
It's the mid-90s.
But
It's the deal is that everybody's still a little weirded out by it.
Right. But it's kind of weird to constantly, and Willow's gay, by the way. But then you see other taboo topics just kind of still being joked about and laughed about. So it's kind of like, okay, we're okay with the gay, but we're not okay with this, So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like I said, I think we get that point now,
Mm-hmm.
When Oz left, she changed. Yeah, that's about what I've been doing. Staying away from the internet because apparently they had some rich party last night. All I know is that Megan Fox showed up naked. That's all I've really heard about it. So.
And this was where again?
It was at the Met Gala.
Oh, where Cortez wore the dress saying, tax the rich.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
At a party that's $30,000 a plate. So, but like I said, it was kind of, and then Kim Kardashian did the world the biggest favor and showed up in a trash bag where you couldn't even see her face. I was like, damn, she's finally listening to people. But like I said, everybody has talked about the Megan Fox thing, and I will say she looked freaking hot. I mean, no other way to describe the way she looked. She was freaking hot. She owned the carpet last night. But then her, I don't know what his name is, but he's kind of like a ripoff to Vanilla Ice, the guy she's dating right now, almost got into a fight with McGregor, who's like, from what I understand, a really good boxer.
Oh, wow.
Conor McGregor?
Conor McGregor, yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That
sounds like a smart thing to do.
There's cheaper ways
Yeah.
to commit suicide, dude. There really are.
Yeah. Well, I think the only thing that saved the little twig boy was he's still recovering from an injury. So his security guards were able to jump in pretty quick. Like, God, dude. He's going to kill you.
Did he get the injury from fighting Mike Tyson or what?
I'm not sure. They said it was his knee. He was walking with a cane, but I don't know. I probably know too much about boxing right now because a lot of YouTube stars are thinking they can box now, and it's fun to watch them get the crap beat out of them. But
You're a weird young lady.
Right.
You know that, right?
It's the train wreck thing, man.
Right. I mean, who doesn't want to punch Logan Paul in the face? Hello?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, you're going to give me
Call
money to do
call
that?
me.
Right.
Hell, you could have one of them charity events and charge $1,000 a pop, and a line will form behind the punch Logan Paul in the face thing.
Yep. Well, I guess he has a brother who's also doing this right now. I guess they didn't make enough money on YouTube where they're like, oh, now we got to do something with our lives.
Otherwise, we'll pay taxes.
Right. And for anybody listening, I'm not knocking YouTubers because if you can get online and you can peddle your life to a bunch of people and make money off of it, go ahead. But if you are in that lifestyle, you know why I don't like Logan Paul. I mean, he's one of the more rude, classless YouTubers they have, but for some reason people love to watch him. So, but speaking of YouTubers, last piece of tea, and I'll turn it over. There was a lady, she's a family blogger. I don't watch a lot of her stuff because to me it feels kind of icky to use your kids for YouTube views, Kids should be kids and should be able to grow up without a camera in front of them, And apparently she just got a puppy, and the puppy has parvo. Okay, now me being a dog person, that's if you don't take care of that correctly, it's a death sentence for your dog. period. But not a very high survival rate, even with proper medical attention. So to say that she was upset was totally understandable. Brand new puppy, second day in the house, and he's dying, Well, the kid, she's doing this update in her car, and the kid is sitting right there with her, and he's visibly upset. I mean, he's like crying. His puppy is dying, The kid is maybe 10, so he's a little kid, Well, when she gets through with her update, she gets him and she's like, come here, to make a thumbnail for her video. She got him in front of the camera and was like, okay, now pretend like you're crying. Well, he tells her, he's like, Mom, I really am crying. Now, as a parent, would you not shut the freaking camera off right then and there and tend to the emotional well-being of your child?
Not if you're a YouTuber.
This is a trick question, right?
It's like... For one thing, the kid never should have been on there. If your kid is upset, you shouldn't have even been on there. You're having an emotional moment. You need to.
That's going to bring in views because that's going to tug heartstrings.
Yeah, because of course, if me being, I watch a lot of YouTube. If I saw a thumbnail with a kid crying, my first part is, oh, what's wrong? So they would get
because you're human.
And
right.
You'll click on it and you'll start watching. There you go. There's her click.
Right, they win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess she forgot.
Did exactly what she wanted you to do.
Yeah. It's emotional porn is what it is. Well, apparently the part, she was supposed to cut this out, but she didn't. And she uploaded it to her 500,000 YouTube subscribers. And of course, people immediately called her out for it because it was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you, because she's like telling her kid how to put his hand and, and she's like making these sad faces. You can tell they're posing it up for the camera. But what breaks your heart is when the kid tells her, Mom, I really am crying. Like, hello, see me,
right, the kid has to tell the mother this.
Yeah, be aware of everything other than your camera right now, Well, she went on a dad's podcast and was, oh, I'm so sorry, because she immediately deleted it when she got called out. But age of internet, it's still out there,
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't hear anything about your sad little puppy now because they've cut all that out to show what you did wrong, But she apologized, and I can understand. She was like, it was way out of line. She said what you wanted her to say. I really feel like she was like, oh, crap, I need to apologize for this, and wrote down bullet points of what to say, and put it scripted out there. Well, now she has totally deleted her YouTube channel, her Instagram, and Twitter because of the backlash that she received from this video. Some of them being death threats, which I don't think that's right at all. Violence will never solve anything. I guess I'm a hippy-dippy that way. I don't, violence won't take care of a problem. It throws gas on a fire. But I feel like now she's able to hide behind this, and she doesn't have to face the consequences of what she did. Because now it's not, I'm a piece of shit mother and I had to delete my stuff. It's because you guys were so mean. It took everything away from me. She won't have to, she won't ever have to say I was wrong. Because now it's, you guys are wrong.
Well, if it's any consolation, she can't capitalize on her being a horrible person anymore either. So there's that.
True. Yeah. But, one thing sad about YouTube I've learned, we've had some like makeup gurus come out as pedophiles and that kind of thing. They disappear for a while and then they come back and everybody's like, oh, hey, we love you. Hey, but they totally forget what they did. And it's like, I guess I'm not a sheep because it's like, ooh, you were texting young boys and I don't like that. That will never be okay in my eyes, I don't care how good your makeup is. I don't care how good you do makeup. I don't care how hot the tea is. If you screw up, I'm gone. A perfect example, Shane Dawson. I loved him. I absolutely adored this guy. He was funny. He he did a lot of like weird conspiracy theories kind of stuff, and it was cool. He had a huge falling out, rightly so, from what I've seen. I can say as his fan, I never saw that stuff before, but it kind of comes under, this was 10 years ago. What you could say and do 10 years ago, they will crucify you for today. Not saying it was right to say it 10 years ago, but there wasn't a lot of, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, this is going to end my career if I make fun of this, but, nowadays, sometimes I don't think that's fair to pull up something from so long ago to cancel somebody, give me within the last 2 years, because, I believe in change and I believe people can grow, but I think it takes longer than a couple of months off the internet to do that. I mean, but to me, just the whole thing was icky. I think you should leave your kids, if you want to make money online, do it. Hey, go for it. I've never seen theirs, but people, wanting to do OnlyFans and everything else, you go, girl. I've watched a friend make a whole makeup brand, got all the capital and everything from just doing OnlyFans. That's great. If you can make it work, that would never work for me, but you go. But when you start dragging your kids into a choice you've made to be so open with people, that's wrong. Your kid can't make that choice. And if they can, they're a child. I mean, as a child, I wanted to be a Smurf, and I'm glad my parents didn't listen to me and turn me blue. It's just icky. It's wrong. It's just really gross. So if you're doing that, don't do that.
God,
just
imagine
gross.
Liz is blue.
Right? Oh, I was going to be the next Smurfette. I mean, that little girl had to go.
I don't think there weren't enough Smurfs to go around. Holy cow. Come on.
No. But see, growing up, the first one to wake up was always like, I call being Smurfette for the day. And you had to say it as fast as you could, because if not, you had 3 other sisters that were, first thing, as soon as my eyes open, I'm going to be Smurfette today. I also liked Penny from Underdog if I missed Smurfette, so. Even then, dogs, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that,
Not much.
We
Not much.
We learn so much when you have not much.
Right. Although I would kind of like to know, before we got online tonight, Jimmy Palmiotti was like, today's the kind of day where you just want to sell all your comics, quit work, and pack up Amanda and leave. It's like, whoa, what the hell's going on?
Okay, in an effort to kind of cut this short, he lives in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Okay. That makes sense. Well, but then he was like, comic producers do better. And then, who was it? Rich Johnston from Bleeding Cool was like, oh, but do they? And then one person went off. I mean, like, went off on him. It's like, you're one to talk. You never hold anybody accountable, and you let people slide. Apparently, Rob Liefeld has had a couple of fake Kickstarters, and nobody's ever said anything or done anything about it, or, So it's kind of like, wow, what the hell's going on? But TV wants to know what's going on here. Because other than the stuff with Action Lab, I haven't really heard anything bad come out. So, Action Lab was bad enough. Last thing on them, though, Action Lab proved what I said. Get a contract. You have to have a leg to stand on with these guys, you know? And the only results I'm seeing right now is with people who had that contract who was like, no, I'm not going to pay you for these copies. You're going to publish my comic like you said you were going to. So, contracts, people. Get it in writing. It saves heartache and makes litigation so much easier. But yeah, so if you guys figure that out, let me know. I would like to know why he's mad. And I shouldn't have said that about Rob because I don't know if Rob did the Kickstarters or if somebody did those in his name. So that's just allegedly right now. So just remember.
Seems weird, but yeah.
Yeah, all hate mail goes to the fake West account.
And I'm lonely, so I'll read it.
But it's allegedly.
So, Mike, good luck.
Yeah, well, hey, you know, it's actually easier when I don't really have much of anything to talk about. Because, I mean, I haven't really done all that much in the last week. Back on the prepping for October thing. So I'm doing things here and there, but nothing that I'm ready to talk about or anything. So, you know.
Yawn.
Boring. I'm very boring. I had to tell somebody that the other day. Like I was like, you haven't figured out how boring I am yet? Come on. This is not news. This is me. This is it right here. It's boring.
Weren't we just the other week saying how he was the one who had the life and had little gamer friends that he'd go play games? So you're saying we're more boring than you?
I'm not making any judgments about your boringness. I'm just telling you about mine.
About your boring ass life.
Yeah.
But you're admitting that she's boring.
Mm-hmm. He did, didn't he? He's just going to slide that by.
I am neither confirming nor denying anything.
Are you pleading the fifth?
I'm
pleading for a fifth.
I'm right. I'm down in the fifth as fast as I can, but you know.
We'll let it slide this time.
Mm-hmm.
Les, save us.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, fuck.
Somebody save me.
I don't have much to add to the stuff that's been posted this evening on our podcast. But I'm just hoping that people out there have better lives than we do.
Let's hope not, because then they'd stop listening to us.
Hopefully they would contact us so we could talk to them.
Right? Come be a guest.
Please let us live vicariously through you.
I almost started doing Home by the Sea, but that was not going to work. Okay. Well, for me, fortunately, I have a little something.
Ooh.
So, actually started back into watching Kit Boga streams. For those who are not familiar, I talked about him. It's been a long time since I've discussed him, but as a public service, I guess the term that they use is a scam baiter, where he calls the scammers and basically wastes their time. And he puts on these characters and just literally just makes their lives hell by just continually talking, being unresponsive and that kind of stuff. And it's really funny to watch. And these can go on for hours and days. He's talked about, and I remember catching some of this back when I was watching him before. He spent with one or two scammers literally 36 hours over a course of a few weeks. He wasted their time for 36 hours on one of these things. So, the one that he's got two going on right now, and by the time this comes out, it may still be going. It may be over. One of these, it was funny because it was on today. Originally started with a duplicate transaction, and I don't know all the details, but at some point it went to where his character purchased a bunch of drainless tubs. So supposedly there's tubs in the front yard because he bought all these things to try to get this all corrected, and this has been going on for I think about 14 hours at this point now. He's redeemed 26 Google Play cards or gift cards online, and of course the scammers are watching this, screaming at him, "Don't do this! I'm supposed to have those numbers so I can have that money." It's funny to watch because he's doing this like a little old lady, and it's just so he's got the voice changer and all that. And it's just fun to watch these guys totally lose it. And it's just like, at what point do they actually realize what the hell's going on? They don't. They're all set and trying to get money from her. The other one that's going on right now took a weird turn today, as it was an issue with issue, quote unquote, air quotes there, with Microsoft. So he's talking to this guy from Microsoft, but it's also involving his Bank of America account. And just a couple of days ago when he was on and was dealing with this, he said the scammer was like, "Well, let me get someone from Bank of America online. It's on the phone, and we'll try to get this all worked out." I'm like, okay, that should be a red flag for anybody. How the hell is that going to – why would someone from Microsoft be trying to call Bank of America and try to resolve all this whole problem? Anyway, but the thing is the person from Bank of America was like literally sitting next to him, so you were getting the echo. So, when she's talking, you can hear him, but you can hear the echo on the guy's line as well. So it's so funny because you're just like, you guys don't figure someone would go, "Wait a minute, why am I getting an echo here? Why does it sound? Why am I hearing her on your line, and why am I hearing him in your line?" It's just but it even got worse today because she wasn't there. So the scammer was trying to do a female voice as her. Yeah, so I'm talking like this, and I don't know what's going on. Then the same scammer tried to pretend to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he's trying to do this other voice as Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I don't want to go into details of how Arnold's involved with this, but anyway, but the thing that was so funny is when he's doing these other voices, he accidentally drops back into his normal voice for like a couple of words or something. And drops back. It's just like, guy, you really you really need to be thinking about what you're doing here. But this one's been going on for a few hours. It just it's crazy. And then I had watched part of a video from a broadcast back from from August, and I've got a link, and we'll put it in the show notes. Y'all have to watch the first 2 hours of this. If nothing else, watch the first 2 hours of this stream. Because what he's been doing is he's been working on programming, changing the programming for a home assistant like Siri or Alexa, that kind of thing. So where he can have it going, and just out of nowhere, it'll just spout out something. It may misunderstand what's being said and tries to do a reply or something like that. It's funny as hell. So it's called Brian, or during this it was called Brian. He even went to program it to where if anybody, either him or the scammer, mentions the word Google, the automatic response from the home assistant is, "I've ordered noodles from Amazon." And it actually happened. The scammer mentioned Google, and you immediately hear, I've placed an order for noodles on Amazon. And of course he's going, no, don't do that. I've got a shit ton of noodles right now, because it was so funny. Because I mean, just like out of nowhere, it would say, it would go, okay, well, there's 12 eggs in the refrigerator. Yeah, it's just some of this nonsensical stuff. And it got to the point where the scammer was like, you really need to turn that thing off. And I can't. And it's like, he's playing like not necessarily a senior citizen, but an older woman. It's like, my son installed it. I don't know, in the house. I don't know how to turn it off. That kind of thing. And I was just, I was literally laughing out loud watching it, because not only what he's saying to the scammer and all that, but what the home assistant's doing. It is funny. And he wasn't all pleased with it. He said, it still needs some work, but conceptually he loved the idea. And I was like, that's great, because those things do go off.
Yeah.
When you're just having a conversation. So it kind of makes sense if it's going to happen, in the phone conversation. But it's just, I'm so kind of glad I got back into this, because it's funny as hell. Although part of me really gets so heated at the scammers. It's just like, I cannot do this. Because I would lose my cool, and I would say something, and everything would just go to pot. So hats off to them, because they can be verbally abusive and all that kind of stuff at times, especially when they get really, really mad at what's going on. But Kit Boga, bless him, he's great. He's got such a great attitude. And of course, he's doing this to kind of just make people aware. Hey, they're out there. They want your money. And they're going to do whatever they can to get it. So,
yeah.
So, like I said, I'll go ahead.
I watch a guy named Mark Robles, I think is his name. He does like a lot of science experiments and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, of course, to do the science experiment, he has boxes come in all the time. So he's constantly getting packages stolen and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he's come up with like a glitter bomb.
Oh, yeah. I did see something about that, yeah.
As soon as they open it, glitter goes off. He updated it where it starts spraying this like fart spray.
Yeah.
And like, ooh, he sirens the whole 9 yards. I mean, he gets them really, really good. And it's sad because when you're watching it, you're like, just still it. I want to see this thing go off, still it. But it does make you feel good, because a lot of people would pick the package up and like take it to the door, and it's like, hey, you don't want to leave this out here, or they'd hide it, or, So it was like, oh, there are good people out there. I bet they own dogs.
Judgy.
Right, But yeah, it is pretty cool when you see the scammers get scammed, you know. One for the good guys.
So yeah, like I said, we'll have a link in the show notes for that particular episode, and he does have a YouTube channel, and he'll have a lot of stuff on there as well. So definitely check him out. It's you'll have a laugh, and it makes you feel good that hey, these people are getting it's karma. I mean,
Yep.
it's not enough. They need to get more for what they're doing, but yeah. Anyway.
Yep, they do.
I think we mentioned it somewhere earlier that we do have a Discord. Excuse me. That you are more than welcome to come join. It's free. The sign up is free. The app is free. We do have an invite on our homepage, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. We post news items there, a lot of funny stuff, some videos, music videos, trailers, that kind of stuff. We have some fun discussion. You're more than welcome to come join us. And one programming note before we start today's fun. No new episode next week. We are taking a week off, kind of recharging our batteries for the final push of 2021.
Yeah.
Woohoo! So,
We kick off with Halloween, don't we?
Yep.
Yay!
Yep. We start horror month next time we are up. So be apprised of that. But about another 12 episodes, knock on wood, with not counting the 2 bonus episodes we'll have, because we'll have 2. We may have 3 or 4, who knows? Depends on what pops up as we head along. So we're in the final swing of 2021, guys. We're getting there.
Time flies.
All right. Huh?
Time flies.
Time flies. That's right. Okay. For this week, it's casting call time. But this time we are doing a little something different. And let me go ahead and explain what casting call. If you've not checked out our podcast before and don't know what casting call is, what we've been doing. It's like every other month. We will take usually like a comic book property or a show or a movie or something like that, and we may change formats and change time periods. Like the last one we did was for Raiders of the Lost Ark, that we handle it as a late 30s, early 40s movie serial instead of the 1980 film that we did get, and that was a blast. But we've done stuff as a streaming series or a movie back in the 60s or a TV show in the 80s, that kind of thing. So that's the general concept of what we've been doing. But for this episode, kind of lead into horror month, I came up with the idea of trying to put together a horror movie show, kind of along the lines of Elvira, Svengoolie, several others. You come up with the concept, and you come up with the cast, and there you go. So I thought it was a little different. Thought this could be fun and a little bit more creative than what we've normally done. So with the groundwork laid, let's go ahead and discuss our shows. Who'd like to go first?
All right.
You really want okay? I was about to say, do I really need to pick someone? I will.
No.
No. See, I had this host spiel, and I just told you guys my show, but I was muted. So next.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, all right then.
That was perfect, Liz. Yeah, that was a great show.
You liked it, right?
Yeah.
It was
So
awesome.
was I. I was doing the same thing.
Me too. Yeah. Good night, everybody.
That was fun. We ought to do that one again sometime.
We should. I liked his ideal.
Wow.
Well, what I was saying before my microphone rudely didn't record me, I've been excited about this one. I think me and Thomas had talked about it before he threw it out there to the rest of you guys, kind of a what do you think kind of thing. And it got my little mind a turning. And at first, that little rabbit got really tired. But at first I was thinking, okay, that like a whole TV show, you know, who would play in that and everything else. But the more I got to thinking about it, here's my ideal. I think instead of having a host like Elvira was, you know, every week there she was, this is what we did. I think it would be really cool to get people like Clive Barker and Stephen King and you know, all the great horror writers to host a week themselves and to let us know what is their favorite horror movie. You see it every year around Halloween time. Top 10 movies Stephen King likes. Well, let us tell it about it. And maybe instead of them being like the guest, they are the host, but have, like, if it's Stephen King and he likes Clive Barker's movie, have Clive Barker come in and kind of give him a behind the scenes kind of, oh yeah, when we shot this, kind of like Elvira did in, you know, in the commercial breaks. But, you know, him kind of tell us, oh, yeah, this was maybe a tricky scene to record because of this, or give us a little insight on what made that so scary, you know. And that way you still have, you know, oh, this is Stephen King's scariest movie. And, of course, he probably, I don't know, maybe so. I don't know if he's a narcissist or not. They probably won't pick their own stuff, you know. So
I'm pretty sure Stephen King won't pick his own movies.
Right.
He's always been pretty much down on his own on movie adaptations of his work. But
yeah. I think that would be pretty cool. Or like Carrie. Maybe one of the behind the scenes could be, oh yeah, we had to use 55 gallons of pig's blood, or you know, just interesting things that maybe would make it a little more spooky, you know.
Okay. Yeah, like that.
that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds expensive, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, you probably would. But see, the cool thing of it is, if you get like Clive Barker to come in and talk about his movies, then you don't have to pay for the rights because, you know, how is he going to talk about a movie that's not playing? And most writers do like to talk about themselves, so. But yeah, I thought that would be cool.
That's viable. I like the idea.
Yeah. I like it too.
I
Okay.
don't know how long you could do that, though. You know? Maybe like a special Halloween time or something, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was thinking if you get a top 5 out of each of the people, then you could carry it on for quite a while.
That's true.
Getting
Just give
each of them
like
to
their,
sit still long enough to record enough material to actually do it would be a different story. But
get them to do like
yeah.
a whole month themselves.
Yeah.
That would be, yep. You could do that a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Depending on how you handle it, because if it's like during commercial breaks or that kind of thing, then yeah, I mean, you could record a bunch of that in one day.
Sure.
Yeah. But it would also be cool to have people be able to call in and go, what the hell was you thinking doing that?
Oh, I don't know if you're going to get away with that.
That would be kind of touchy.
That would be a
Why does
turn
the
off.
blonde always have to scream? Or maybe a pre-selected list of questions before the show.
The deal is, I think that's a different show. Probably a very entertaining one, but
Yeah.
you're not going to get people doing that. You're not going to have Stephen King. He's apparently the best example for this, but you're not going to have him sitting there taking random calls from random ass people out in the audience anywhere.
True.
That would be a fun one. You could take random phone calls if you've got just your generic host.
Yeah.
Just basically reading the feedback from fans. But yeah, that's a different ball of wax right there.
Um,
Fun, or potentially fun. You might have to have some curating of the feedback, but still.
and I think it would be neat to have the directors actually come in, you know, of that film. Like if it's the Conjuring film, have Michael Chavez come in and say, "Oh yeah, I picked this because it's creepy as hell." I'm curious on if he's ever experienced anything supernatural because the movies he puts out. He knows a lot. He's either done some really, really good research or this has touched his life in some way. I could do a good horror show just from the 15, 16 years I spent in church. Because, the lore and that kind of thing. So I've always been curious about that, too. That's kind of what got me into if they interview him, you kind of would find that out. You don't find the general producing or marketing the movie kind of stuff,
Okay.
Okay. So, as as an upfront, I don't know if warning is the right word, but there was a point when we were kind of building up to this. Basically, last week, I was looking at this, and I admit I stopped myself. I almost jumped on Discord and said, "Okay, what the hell are we supposed to be doing for this?" And I stopped myself because, to be honest, I realized what always happens when we do these casting calls, which is we all come at it from very different angles, and I'm like, okay, he gave us this on purpose, basically to see how far out there we would go. So with that said, here I go. I actually came up with a few different ideas, and most of them are not possible because that's how my brain works. I will lead with the one that I think is the most possible, just because I mean, they would all be fun in their own way. But this is the crazy idea that I thought of. And I'm just the way my brain works. My initial thought was, because I go back and I look at all of the hosts that have done stuff like this in the past. You get your Elvira's, we've mentioned her. You get, Joe Bob Briggs is doing it again. You get Svengoolie, you mentioned. This goes all the way back to Vampira. There's usually some level of personality involved in some way or direction or whatever. And my initial thought was it would be funny to have a robot do this. And unfortunately, as soon as I said robot in my head, Bender pops into my head. And then I realized, well, shit, that would be perfect because he would be absolutely delightful doing this. And so my idea is basically to get Billy West and John DiMaggio. And you basically just draw a scene of Bender and Fry sitting on a couch talking about these movies. And with that setup, you could do any kind of movie you wanted. You could do any quality of movie you wanted. It really wouldn't make any difference. It would be fun for it to be like mostly stuff from like the 80s and 90s, just because that would fit in with Fry and kind of his background. But
they could totally trash him.
But does it really matter? Nope. You could just kind of go nuts and it would just be hilarious. So that's kind of my comedy version, anyway.
That's awesome. I'd watch it.
Hell yeah, who wouldn't? Shit. Most of us are dying for more Futurama anyway. This is probably the closest we're going to get.
I kind of have it in my head like Beavis and Butthead used to do the music videos. But it would be them two doing it to horror shows.
See, I actually wouldn't limit them to horror. I mean, basically any trashy movie there were so many trashy movies in the 80s and 90s. You
Yeah,
could do anything.
you could.
Horror ones would be funny. Having them prattle on through it might be a lot. But to have them doing the commercial commentary, absolutely.
That
You
would be
really
good.
could go either way, but that was where I was headed with it.
That's cool.
Yep. Like that one. Who? Les.
I looked at it pretty much how it was written and presented. I decided to see if I could come up with celebrity hosts. My first choice was Jeff Fahey. Jeff Fahey can creep me out because of his eyes.
Yep.
And he is so intense. I enjoy his work and such. But it just one of those things that hope that I don't offend him, because I've got a feeling he'd kill me and then tell God I just died. So I've got a feeling he could handle the humor. He could, if people started taking pot shots at him, he's going to fire back.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be a good fit for something like this, and he would have fun doing it. So that's who I first looked at.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Just call me Duke.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to you do set up a full season of those. I mean, even if it's only like 12 of them, and make sure you pick one of his movies along the way.
Right.
Just
like Lawnmower Man.
Sure, that would be as good a candidate as any.
Or Machete.
Psycho 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do the whole season that way. I would just do like one per season that way, just because you don't want to overdo it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay. For me, I kind of took this back to, say, late 80s, early 90s. Part of it's because of I couldn't choose between the two people I wanted as like the main character. But the premise is this man known as Uncle Joe, who owns a theater that's seen better days, and of course it's in the age of now we've got all the new screens and sound systems and all that, and he can't compete with that. So what he's done to cut costs is he only shows public domain films and has his niece and nephew, Jim and Jan, run the theater. And this is called Uncle Joe's Thriller Theater. Now, I didn't really have anyone in mind for the niece and nephew, but I wanted someone kind of lovable and funny to play Uncle Joe. So I thought John Austin or Chuck McCann.
Two good choices.
Yeah. Just kind of one of those, you feel bad for them. They're lovable. You just kind of want to do something to help them, even if it's watching horribly bad movies. So.
Cool.
I like that.
Could be interesting.
Yep.
That would be.
And I basically put it back in that time frame because Chuck's no longer with us, unfortunately. No.
Yeah.
What would you pose to them for watching?
Oh, anything. I mean, it could be horror, but it could be just anything. I mean, look at Mystery Science Theater 3000. How they've watched westerns and action films and beach movies, that kind of stuff. So it's called Mystery Science Theater, but a lot of the films they watched had nothing to do with science or science fiction. So
true.
So I would focus on more of the thriller, that kind of stuff. It's possible. But, if we're using public domain films, we're kind of limited to what we can do.
Oh, I don't know. There's an awful lot of public domain films out there.
Well, true. I know, but still.
What you're limiting is the number of good movies.
True.
But that's okay, too. Sometimes it's more fun to talk about the dogs.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
I mean, we tend to have that problem here on our show.
So,
and I'm trying to remember on Roku, there is a channel where they were called Ray Gun. And Ray Gun shows you movies. You can pick what you want. Or what I've done is hit the roulette, Ray Gun roulette, and they find me movies. And I watched one Jack Palance movie the other day that I said I would never watch again. It was that friggin' bad.
You remember what it was called?
Craze. Craze.
Okay.
Now, I was also looking at people that had done shows in the past. And if I wanted a female to run the show, I would get Rhonda Shear.
Up All Night, yep.
Because she has the humor, and she made it fun, so much fun.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that show didn't last. Well, it lasted 5 years or something. So it was worth the time.
Didn't Gilbert Gottfried also do that for a time?
I think so.
I wonder if I can't. I seem to remember both of them hosting it, but I can't remember if Rhonda was first and then Gilbert came over. Oh, I don't know. Gilbert Gottfried, who was on $100,000 Pyramid the other night, I saw a bit of that and went, oh God, I don't know if I want to listen to that voice trying to give me clues.
Right.
That would drive me nuts.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm back.
That's one way to make the game show more difficult. That's for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he kind of ruined his career with one joke, didn't he? I can't remember what the joke was now.
I don't remember.
No, I don't think he lost or ruined his career, but it was a joke that was fed to him constantly. And I don't believe that's his real voice. So
yeah,
he's like Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah, that's who I was just thinking of.
He could slip in from one to the other easily.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's not his real voice. I forgot where I read that somewhere, but anyway, not surprising. But all right,
what actors would be those that you want but are unattainable?
Jensen Ackles, Jared.
Oh, God. Of course. You will appreciate them more when you're not seeing them all the time and stuff. You need a break from them.
Supernatural's been off the air for about a year now. Yep. I need a Winchester intervention.
Right now, I do too.
To be like what?
Toughie. To host one of these things.
To do a host, yeah.
Yeah, that would just host 1 or 2 episodes. Who would you like to see, but you know that they're going to poo-poo or shit on whatever idea you have?
Funny how those things both mean the same thing, isn't it? Poo-poo and shit on.
Well, poo-poo doesn't necessarily go violent.
Yeah.
It's the peaceful
I thought of a name, but I don't think he would turn it down. I think he would have fun with it. Mark Hamill.
True.
Oh, damn.
He would have fun doing the show.
Especially when he could do any voice he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see David Carradine. Just because of his father's voice.
He was Grasshopper, right?
Yes.
Which means he died about 5 years ago, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, he'd be a little unattainable.
He's unattainable, yeah.
See, that's my problem. I have a list of people sitting here, but they're all dead. And that's why they're unattainable. I'd love to, Vincent Price. Why would he not be perfect for this?
Yeah.
Other than, having been dead for 20 years or more.
But that would make for a really good horror show.
Mm-hmm.
You say that. And they did, Monty Python did it was kind of like a Q&A session thing for a documentary. This was probably, I don't remember what year it was. It was like 2000-ish. And of course, Graham Chapman died in 1989. And allegedly he was there. They brought out an urn and put it on the table, and the other 5 guys just sat there and talked the whole time. So you could just do the urn thing and go for it,
Yeah.
The other big one that I think would be really fun, that it would have been fantastic to do this like in the mid-2000s. And honestly, it's one of those where you literally just have him sit down and do this with all of his, or if not all of his movies, a bunch of his movies over time. I would do this with Dick Miller.
Oh, yeah.
Just to have him just sit there and talk about his movies and what he did with them and how involved he was in them, because it would vary quite a bit. And, oh, man, that would just be awesome.
Yeah.
And talk about a guy that doesn't take himself seriously.
Exactly. It would just be good. You watch him in the documentary. I think it's called That Guy Dick Miller.
Yes, I've seen that.
And it's honestly, it was done about 2 years before he died, and it's just hilarious. And it's actually even a fairly long documentary, because dude had just an unbelievably long career, and was in all kinds of stuff, and was just this totally not assuming anything guy, just like a really nice guy. And he plays all these really honestly some really nasty pieces of work in these movies, some of them, and he's just this really sweet guy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is.
You mentioned he doesn't take himself seriously, and all of a sudden a name popped in that I think would be perfect. Whether or not he's attainable or not, that's kind of open for debate. Bruce Campbell.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Totally.
Because he can laugh at himself. That's what's funny. I think somebody who's been into a lot of horror for most of his career, it'd be kind of interesting to have Rob Zombie come on a show and kind of break down horror shows. sometimes he can see the horror in things that other people can't, you know?
And vice versa.
Yeah.
You can see the horror when there is none.
Mm-hmm.
And other than you trying to lick his brain the whole time, it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right. Sing me a song. I mean, and you really wouldn't have to dress him up.
Shit, no, he comes pre-costumed. That's great.
Right. Ooh, and I know you guys would laugh, but it would be kind of interesting to have the Winchester boys kind of break down supernatural stuff. Just not supernatural, but oh yeah, this here what you have is a zombie. You take them out by shooting them in the head. Yeah, that'd be cool. Although if I had to pick between the two, I'd say Jensen because he's a little bit more broader on his acting range. Cut that out. I didn't say that.
Too late.
Oh no, that's totally staying in. But yeah, you could have him do some sort of like zombie survival guide or horror survival guide type thing.
Winchester's Guide to Horror, you know.
Sure, why not?
I'd watch it.
No. Really? I'm shocked.
No kidding.
Wow.
You're not only are you the target audience, you're like the only audience.
Right. I don't know. The supernatural family's pretty strong, guys. I have to say, I love The Boys on Amazon. I really do because it, knocked it out of the park. But I really think The Boys got their drive after they announced that Jensen was coming over. You have the whole supernatural family now who is now watching The Boys to get caught up to watch season 3. So I think some of the popularity don't get me wrong, it's a good show, but I think a lot of their popularity came from the supernatural family for season 2.
Maybe.
Yep.
Because I don't imagine a lot. I mean, I won't say none of them because that would be crazy, but I bet not a lot of them were watching something like that in the first place if they're trying to get their hands on supernatural and its kind of style, genre, whatever.
Yeah.
It's outside the box for them, that's for sure.
Totally. Well, and you have, your supernatural occult stuff coming into the comic book world, and you usually don't find that a lot together. It's usually one or the other with most people. Unless you're weirdos like us, we like it all.
What you mean us?
Yeah, what you mean us?
What you talking about, Willis?
I've watched some of y'all's movie recommendations.
Uh-huh. If you want to have fun, I'm gonna sidetrack this one real fast after that. If you want to have some fun in a sort of an MST type situation with Jensen and Jared, pull a bunch of this ghost hunter type shows from the last 20 years and have them watch them and do commentary live.
It was funny on Supernatural. There was these people called Ghost Facers, I think. They were kind of like a spoof. They always was like, oh, these guys are so fake, So it was kind of like I don't know. They were weird, but they did get spun off from Supernatural, really following like ghosts and that kind of thing. It didn't last too long because they're stupid, but they did get a spin-off from it.
There's a glowing endorsement.
Mm-hmm. Didn't know she was capable of saying anything bad about something supernatural related, but there we are.
But I know people watch a lot of that stuff. I believe that kind of thing. And I feel like sometimes in the occult world with these ghost chasers, they come in and just kind of, I don't know, like molest the whole environment. It's like there's no respect. There's no I don't know what to, I'm gonna stick with respect. I think in the occult world, you walk into a place that's known to be haunted and you're all like, oh, fuck you. And they're not going to speak to you. You know, they try to find open minds, I guess, you know?
Right, sympathetic.
Right.
Stuff.
But
right.
you just can't go all in, you know. They're not going to reveal themselves to non-believers. Why?
Unless you're trying to prove that it's all bullshit, in which case you came in with the wrong mindset in the first place.
Yep. And I think that's why a lot of these paranormal shows go to crap, because they don't find anything. Well, you're not respecting anything. A lot of ghosts and spirits are left behind because of death. You have to honor the dead, you know. If not, you get possessed and some freaky shit starts happening. It's just a matter of respect, you know. But yeah, they did spin off from that, and it was bad. They were like the Jeff Gordon, or not, was it Jeff Gordon? The guy who was like Crocodile Hunter, and Jeff Corbin. He's one that goes out in nature and just like touches everything. And you're like, quit! Don't touch it. Respect it. Leave it alone. Walk away, you know.
Right. They think that because they're talking nice about something that they are respecting it. And, you know, you're pulling it out of its natural habitat and freaking it the fuck out. What do you think's going to happen here?
Yep.
How is that a positive?
Yep.
You're teaching people about it. Yeah, you're teaching people who shouldn't be given the role model of walking out into nature and grabbing live shit and swinging it around.
You get people bit and killed. He's got a whole team with anti-venom in the next tent, you know.
Because he saw what happened to Steve Irwin, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, he was during the same time. Steve Irwin did not like him for the exact reason I just said. He doesn't know how to walk into a natural environment and leaving it the same way you came in, you know. Crocodile Hunter was amazing at doing that. He never was like, here, you know, jerking things around.
Really? That's not how I remember it.
Crocodiles, and the whole reason I know this is totally side-railed now, the whole reason he got into crocodile hunting was to relocate. Here's a guy who's built a home on the bayou, and now there's a crocodile here. Well, instead of killing it, he's going to go and twirl it up in rope and move it to where it can still live in a swamp and be productive and not hurt anybody. So that's kind of how his whole crocodile thing came into play, was relocation, you know. And of course, when you work in that kind of environment, hey, we've got black widows out here, black mambas out here.
All right, he's from Australia. Everything's dangerous there.
Everything, even their water.
Well, all of their water has sharks in it, so what are you going to do?
Right. Yeah. Get a kid drunk off tap water. But yeah, I liked him because he was more respectful than, like I said, Corbin, who just drove in and was grabbing everything, you know. He's lucky he never got severely hurt. Or like, I'll bring it back around. Or he could be the next dead guy on a horror show.
There we go.
Choo-choo!
And I think on that note, we're going to take a break.
I just brought it back to topic, guys.
That's the only reason you can get away with it at this point.
That's why. At this point, yeah.
Cool.
Any final thoughts before we take a break?
Apparently, choo-choo. I don't know.
Yeah.
Choo-choo.
Don't give anybody any ammo.
Right? Because that stuff's expensive right now.
Damn.
What have I done?
You gave her ammo. Way more literally than you thought.
That's a perfect way to end this segment. And we will be right back. time for our weekly picks, and leading off is Mike.
Yay, I'm leading off this week.
Woohoo!
Anyway, so this week my first pick is from Image Comics, and they're doing a deluxe edition of Gideon Falls. So this is volume 1, which collects the first 16 issues. That's like the first 3 trades at least. I didn't look to see which it really was, but it's a lot of issues. If you're not familiar with this series, then you clearly have not been listening to me talk, because I've been plugging this from day one. Because it is a really dark story, basically centered around a building called the Black Barn, which actually really kind of is a barn. But it's one of those places that kind of, it's not so much time traveling, but it's kind of everywhere in history at once sort of place. It's possible to walk through the door and see whatever it is you see in there, and then run out screaming in a different part of history. And this is initially the story starts off with a kind of a washed up priest kind of taking over the congregation in this small town, and another guy who is kind of like a really, really heavy OCD type, kind of a collector who fishes around in people's trash and stuff looking for symbols, and eventually starts putting together pieces of this thing which constructs this black barn. And it's a very weird, cool story, which is not surprising from Jeff Lemire. But yeah, it's really good, and this is a big collection of it, so check it out.
Cool.
Yeah. Definitely some good stuff there.
Very nice.
Okay, I am next, and for my first selection, I am going with the Epic Collection. If you're a longtime listener to this show, you know that I'm a big fan of Epic Collections from Marvel Comics. And this one features Incredible Hulk, and it's entitled Crisis on Counter-Earth. This collects issues 157 through 178. And in addition to Hulk traveling to Counter-Earth, which is obviously on the other side of the sun, that's why we don't see it, he battles the likes of Rhino and Abomination, Wendigo, all these nice villains. We see the creation of Harpy. Betty Ross turns into a Harpy. Yeah. And the thing also to point out, and probably if you're a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, this might help you a little bit. And I'm talking about the movies. First appearance of him, which is later known as Adam Warlock. So. Ooh.
Dun dun dun.
So. Because there's been rumblings that Adam's going to show up in the third film. We did see him in the. We did see the Cocoon in the end credit scenes. So who knows?
Sounds like fun.
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff there. Alrighty, Les.
My first choice is a thriller from Titan Books called Gun Honey. In this story, a gun is smuggled into a high security prison, and the wielder of this gun ends up taking dozens out. So the U.S. government contacts a weapons smuggler, Joanna Tan, to track down the man and bring him down. This is by Charles Adai, who is also the co-founder of Hard Case Crime Publishing, which have got some great books out there. To find books like by Stephen King, and they're written as crime novels. It's really good stuff. In fact, King said, and I quote, "Charles Ardai is very smart and very cool fellow." So
that's a big endorsement.
Yes, that, and the fact that what caught my eye was the Hard Case Crime Publishing. So I'm looking forward to this one.
It does sound good.
Awesome.
Nice. Alrighty, Liz.
Alrighty. For my first one, I've noticed a theme with my picks, and it's one-shots. So my first collection of one-shots is going to be Ha Ha from Image Comics. They've collected the first 6 issues. I didn't really know. I mean, you kind of know, Ha Ha, what these are going to be about, but I didn't know if it was going to be one continuous story, and it wasn't. These are 6 individual stories of, they call it people under the big top, but it's all like clowns and mimes and that kind of thing. And so far there's been 6. I don't know if this is something they will continue, but it was some of them were really sad, kind of that you kind of had to laugh to keep from crying, kind of sad. And some of them were really funny, but definitely if you're chlorophobic, stay away because it's all clowns. This is from the creator of Ice Cream Man, which of course that was also the one shots that it seemed to deal with a particular phobia. And I think Ha Ha is just one big phobia all the way through, which definitely does play into that clown fear. So like you said, chlorophobic, stay away, but these were pretty interesting. I did read them single, but I am going to get the trade just to have them collected in one place because they are rereadable. So definitely pick it up. Like I said, some of them are sad, some of them are scary, and some of them, like number 6, was just, God, she was pretty hilarious. So some of them are good. It just depends, If you don't like the first story, you'll like the second one,
Cool.
Yeah.
Ha Ha is a very funny, very good entertainment.
Yep. You think they'll continue that, or was it just the 6?
Oh no, I think they're going to go on with it.
Cool.
Just like Ice Cream Man is going on.
He's definitely put some good. I like it because it's not the boogeyman kind of scary. He definitely plays with your own phobias, and yeah, he has a good way of bringing those out in people that you didn't even know you had.
Good psychological horror.
Yeah, that's Maxwell Prince.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Mikey, you are up again.
My turn again. Okay, so this time, actually, my second book is also from Image Comics. This is another collection, but that's okay. This is actually volume 4 of Oddly Normal, which I am glad to see getting put together at this point. It's been a little while since we had a volume of Oddly Normal. Anyway, Oddly Normal is a 10-year-old girl. And her dad is a normal, regular guy, and her mom is a witch from a magical land called Fig Nation. And something happens. Up to a certain point, Oddly did not appear to have any magical powers, but on her birthday, she makes kind of a big mistake, and now she's spent now 4 volumes of this book trying to figure out what happened, and how it happened, and if she's responsible, and if she's not, who is. And so, like I said, this story's been kind of building for a long time now, several years. So I'm glad to see it moving forward a little bit here. It's good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I am next, and for my second choice, I'm going for a collection, although this is actually an omnibus. This is from Valiant Comics, and this is Shadow Man Classic. This collects issues 0 through 24 of the original series, Second Life of Dr. Mirage number 5, Secret Weapons 1 and 2, Dark Passages, and also 20 pages of rarely seen art and extras. It's so cool that Valiant has actually been doing this. It started about a year or two ago, doing the original stuff from the 90s to let newer readers read the original material, and this is the perfect example, because I didn't read any of the Valiant stuff back in the 90s. But that's been being fixed by stuff like this. We have Bob Hall writing and art. You also have Jim Shooter writing and Steve Englehart. David Lapham from Stray Bullets doing art on this as well. So a lot of good names. Classic stories. You can see where Shadow Man came from. So definitely pick this up.
Cool.
Very nice.
And now it would be Les's turn, but due to technical difficulties, he is not with us. So Liz will cover his pick and do her own.
All right. Les's pick was going to kick off Halloween for us with a Monster Fun Halloween Spooktacular. This is from Rebellion Comics, 48 pages, and it will feature Frankenstein, Kid Kong, Draculass, Sweeney Toddler, Gums, Teddy Scare, and Hire a Horror Crew, which have returned with a diabolical host of new frights. Looks cute. The cover's kind of like a Garbage Pail kind of spoof. So I don't think I've heard a lot from Rebellion Comics.
It's basically their 2000 AD.
Yeah.
Okay.
2000 AD is kind of an imprint of Rebellion Publishing.
Okay. So definitely looks cute. Looks fun.
Yes, it does. I kind of eyeballed that one myself.
Yeah, it should be a blast.
Yeah. All right. And for my second pick, this, like I said earlier, it's a one-shot. This is the Grimm's Tales of Terror. I think this is their quarterly that they do. And this one's called The Bachelorette Party. I have looked and looked and looked because I am like, who's the bride? Who's getting married? Because
I was going to ask.
Right?
I don't know either.
I can't remember any of them really being involved with any of them. And it doesn't help that all of the covers have like Giselle in one outfit, Robin in the bride outfit. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. So I don't think they're telling us who the bride to be is, just that she is one of their own, which of course would be one of our own from there. So things get pretty scary, and the last quarterly was a game night that totally went wrong. So I'm really excited to see what they do with the Bachelorette Party. Definitely, I'm assuming we'll have some of our favorite people in there. At least Giselle and Robin for sure, because they're on covers and Red. So should be good. Like I said, people are starting to kick off the spooky just in time for Halloween. So
maybe
put the pumpkin spice down and pick up a comic.
All right, there's no pumpkin spice at bachelorette parties. Come on now.
None. Yeah. And it looks like Death has also showed up, so should be pretty interesting.
Sounds like quite a party.
Right?
Alrighty. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Nope.
I just want to mention that today we did lose a great comedian, Norm Macdonald. I know it'll be a week after when you guys finally hear this, though, but a lot of funny stuff has come out of that guy. I mean, I don't think I would have liked Saturday Night Live as much as I did if he hadn't been involved. Any of the roasts he showed up to, he was always the one to watch for because he just did it so well. So definitely thoughts and prayers to the family. We lost a good one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely did. All right. We'll go ahead and with our regular shout-outs. First, we'll start off with Pop Goes the Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of fellow podcasts. Definitely check them out. We'll have a link in the show notes. Thank you guys, as always. Also want to thank the fine men and women who make up Pattern Family, who've been so kind enough as to spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our tweets. You really should check out some of their fine work, and the easiest way to do that is go to Twitter, do a search, #PodernFamily, one word, and just scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, by all means, click on that link, download that episode, and I hope you have a good time listening to them. Thank you, guys. Also want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. There'll be a link in the show notes where you can check out their music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, observations, what have you, please send them our way. Email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net is our email address. Or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out. As I mentioned before, we do have a Discord. There is a channel there for feedback, or you can just send us a personal message if you like. And please, please, please join us. I think you'll have fun. We're on social media. We are on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks, and obviously we are on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you would be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. And one more note, no new episode next week. We will be back in October for Horror Month, although not going to be exactly horror this year. We'll make up for it next year.
Yeah, we'll see.
You'll see. It'll be fun.
It could be horrible.
Bing, bing.
Waka, waka, waka. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. And Les would say, thanks, everybody.
All right. Appreciate everybody listening, and thank you for your support. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,